I got that animal, ambition. I got that animal, ambition. I got that.
Going to AEW big business.
What I'm supposed to do when these rats blue? Chasing paper, when it come when you get the wins. Sit on my head.
Now the flow's about to begin again. Alright, that's cool. I just took like 8 extra minutes, bro, on getting there. Well, I'm in downtown. I think I'm in downtown. And the arena's 8 minutes away. That's the garden right there. Alright, that's cool. Alright, I got to the parking lot. That's cool. I'm gonna follow these guys. I don't know where I'm going. Can't go wrong with some beer. Well, I made it. That's cool. I had a feeling I was gonna miss something, like Ring of Honor, for example. Right to the show starts. Sorry if it started and not too loud in there. What's up, y'all? Smoak here. What's good? That was me attending the AEW Dynamite Big Business last Wednesday. I should have posted that like within that week, but yeah, I was like F it. So I just put it out there to start off the video. I had a good time. You hear me in the background be excited for like Mercedes Moné's comeback and the start of the show. To be honest, for me it was like whatever. But for AEW though, to have somebody of that profile in their women division, it speaks volume for that company. And shortly before she made her return, she said she'll no doubt return to WWE. People be like, oh man, Tony, that's something Tony Khan don't want to hear. That's bad news for AEW, blah 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 blah. I don't know, I didn't hear the whole thing, but I can't really say. But based on that comment alone, right, taking things out of context, I guess she witnessed that CM Punk return to WWE, so she figured to herself, anything is possible, right? That and Vince McMahon is no longer running the creative side of WWE, nor is part of WWE whatsoever. That video was just something I wanted to put out there. I didn't feel like doing a YouTube shorts, so I just put it to start off the video. I'm gonna be watching WWE superstars who survive humiliating gimmicks. We know pro wrestling, sports entertainment is all scripted, it's a TV show. It's not real competition, It's just a show that portrays competition in wrestling. TV shows, it have to be appealing to the audience, and you don't want to overexpose your wrestlers by constantly having them in wrestling matches week in and week out. To build them off, yeah, but for like the long haul, that's probably not a good idea. As again, the TV shows are events that entertains the crowds on a weekly basis to, I believe, mainly promote the upcoming matches for their big pay-per-view events. In WWE's case, now premium live events on Peacock. So you got a way to entertain the fans, whether they like it, whether they think it's funny, it's appealing, or even, put the feet in the water, like creative-wise, to have these guys, whether these guys can go over or not. So you're always gonna see wacky gimmicks, such as, I guess, like Doink the Clown. You can see it right there in the background in Papa Shango. R-Truth right now is a wacky character. It's not a humiliating gimmicks. I mean, he comes out there and just say the most random stuff. Oftentimes than not, he's in his own world. He's not in reality. He constantly calls DIY D Generation X. I'm like, my gosh, man, they don't even look like them. So that's the fun part, right? And people love it. They're chanting R-Truth, R-Truth. So that's what's up. These right here, I guess Dusty Rhodes back in the day wearing the polka dots. I don't know what the issue was there with Vince McMahon with Dusty, but that was another humiliating gimmick that Dusty Rhodes himself, being the man that he was in the pro wrestling business, found a way to get over the fans with that. I believe he got over with the fans with that, for what I heard. But yeah, let's start the video.
10 WWE wrestlers who survived a horrible gimmick. Number 10, Batista. Upon arriving on the main roster, Batista was given the rather bizarre and one-dimensional gimmick of Decon Batista. This gimmick would see Batista become the heel enforcer for Reverend Devon, and it was hardly a surprise that this gimmick failed to get Batista over. Batista himself also loathed the gimmick, and he would label the character as horrible during an interview with Uproxx. Only in WWE. When it first came up, I did this character called Decon Batista, so it was the same last name, but I was working with this guy named Devon Dudley, and he was doing this televangelist preacher type deal where he was collecting money, and I held this big goofy box, and I was a security guard of his money box. So ridiculous. It was horrible. Thankfully, WWE realized rather quickly that Batista had potential, and this potential wasn't going to be realized with the Decon Batista persona. Just a few short months after his main roster debut, WWE would pivot with the creative direction for Batista, and this would pair him with Triple H and Ric Flair to form Evolution, and over time, Batista would become a household name of the Ruthless Aggression era. Number 9.
Crazy, because that just catapulted him to the top, bro. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. But yeah, and Batista is an example too. Like, you coming up to the main roster, they're not sure, or they have an idea of where you can be as. So they just go for it. It could be either, it could go both ways, like, pretty much like anything else. It could be good or it could be bad. In this case, it was bad for Batista. I don't know if it was Triple H that see potential in him, that that talked to Vince, or Vince is like, he could be that dude instead. They would just testing him out to see what role he can be successfully.
Bray Wyatt. Initially, it looked like Bray Wyatt was going to be booked in the lower mid-card in WWE. Wyatt, when he first started on the main roster, was playing a character known as Husky Harris, and it's hard to define what this gimmick was supposed to represent, as the audience were never directly told.
I was about to say this too, bro. Like, what was the gimmick? He was just some chubby dude. Man.
Naturally, due to the lack of development of this character, the fans had no connection towards it, and Wyatt knew he needed to come up with something different. This was when Wyatt...
Because the whole thing was he was with the Nexus afterwards when he debuted in the main roster. That was it. He was just one of the boys in that 7-man group.
Came up with the Bray Wyatt persona. And to say that this saved his career would be an understatement. The Wyatt persona was unique, gritty, and somehow, despite the character being outlandish in nature, Wyatt managed to deliver the character with a sense of realism thanks to his masterful promo work. This character would become universally beloved by the WWE fans, both as a babyface and a heel, as Wyatt would have a genuine and organic connection with the crowd. Wyatt would become a multi-time world champion and would have celebrated feuds with iconic names such as Daniel Bryan, The Undertaker, John Cena, and Randy Orton.
Facts.
Number 8, Dolph Ziggler.
That's a fact.
Dolph Ziggler's WWE career didn't get off to the best of starts. Ziggler would have two distinct characters, and both were comedic acts that had short shelf life. One of the characters Ziggler portrayed was Kerwin White's caddy, and following this, Ziggler would infamously portray Nikki, who was a member of the male cheerleading group known as the Spirit Squad. These gimmicks were going to be hard to overcome, yet it was apparent that Ziggler had the makings to become a top star in the company, and it was when Ziggler re-debuted on the main roster as Dolph Ziggler that his luck began to change. Ziggler got over thanks to his charisma and his incredible in-ring work. Ziggler started to have tremendous matches on TV, and the fans gradually gravitated towards him. Ziggler went from a superstar's mainstay to world champion in just a space of a few years, and it's a testament to Ziggler that he managed to survive such lackluster personas early on in his WWE tenure. Number 7. Chad Gable. In 2019, WWE, specifically Vince McMahon, had a gimmick idea for Chad Gable that would apparently take him to the next level. Gable would become Shorty G, and this gimmick was focused on Gable's height and nothing else. To represent the gimmick change, Gable would debut hideous new ring attire which made him look ridiculous. Fans heavily criticized the gimmick, and for good reason, but according to Gable during an appearance on After the Bell, he saw the gimmick change as an opportunity. I always ask for opportunities. I've been in Vince's office, I talk to the writers, I'm constantly asking for opportunities. When I finished King of the Ring, it was explained to me that this was the direction we were going. I'm not the type of guy that's going to go in and ask for an opportunity and when given it, complain about it. That's not my philosophy on life. I got my opportunity. Is it the perfect situation? No. In amateur wrestling, me being short was not a thing because I was on a team with 55 and 60 kilo guys who were not even 5 foot. I was on the taller end. It was fine, I got the opportunity I asked for, but it started going off the rails when I was doing segments with guys that I'm taller than. I'm gonna try and give it every ounce of energy I have because I'm committed to this. The gimmick lasted around a year, and luckily it failed to impact Gable's credibility as the fans loved him and they were fully aware of Vince McMahon's questionable motives with the character. Number 6.
Yeah, now, I wasn't watching it at the time, so I don't know much about Shorty G. I know he was part of a tag team banger with Jason Jordan, the America Alpha. I mean, again, it's like the Batista thing, just putting their feet in the water, see what the character can do by himself on the main roster. I don't know how long they were on the main roster for. He was maybe a year. I'm not entirely sure. Before Shorty G came, it's understandable why Vince don't like to have guys under 6 feet or whatever, 6'1" or whatever, to be displayed on a main event, guys, because he wants wrestling to be this larger than life thing, right? And to have somebody who's like 5'11", 5'10" could like somewhat ruin that image of a big main event player. It's the same thing when like of somebody's weight. Oftentimes a big main event player will be like, they'll be jack, right? I'm talking like you stand at 6 feet, 6'1". If you're over at least 230 pounds, bro, looking good, that's the appropriate weight you could be. Kurt Angle 6 feet, that man's like 258, 260, bro. That man is swole. John Cena, same thing. He wasn't the tallest dude, but he was like 6'1", so it's still an appropriate height. 5'11", 5'10", it is too short for a larger than life thing in pro wrestling. But I agree with Vince's philosophy there. But bottom line, when you got it, then you got it, bro. You can't fight that. Like Chad Gable, he have shown over the years to right now with is it still the Alpha Academy? The Chad Gable Academy. I forgot what that old gimmick is called. But even now with the charisma, the thank you and rolling with Otis and Maxine, he's shown he got it, and obviously he got the great in-ring work. So even though he is undersized, as a heavyweight wrestler, he not only does he got the work in the ring, but he got the charisma to go with it. Ain't no way you could like downplay his value. You just can't, bro.
Kane. Kane is considered by many to be one of the most pivotal characters in WWE history. Kane had a tough and complex history with gimmicks before he became the Devil's favorite demon. Kane would first portray the dreaded Isaac Yankem DDS. This was basically an evil dentist, and it came at a time where virtually every wrestler had a profession, so that's likely why WWE believed that this gimmick would work. This gimmick was horrendously executed, and Kane's second gimmick would be even worse. In 1996, they booked Kane to portray the fake version of Diesel, and naturally this completely fell flat. It was in 97 when Kane debuted as The Undertaker's half-brother, And the best thing about the Kane character was that his entire body would be covered, meaning fans wouldn't be able to initially work out that Kane was the one who portrayed the abysmal gimmicks that were Yankum and Fake Diesel.
Alright.
Number 5. John Cena. Arriving on TV in
Oh, man.
2002, John Cena made the perfect first impression. Cena would slap Kurt Angle across the face and utter the words "ruthless aggression." Whilst this was indeed the perfect debut, Cena didn't have a fleshed out character, and he was in essence a generic rookie, and that wasn't going to cut it for a ruthless aggression era audience.
It really was a generic, like, it really was a portrayal of a generic wrestler, bro. He came out there, he wore colored shorts, depends what city he's in, to represent the team, whatever. He go out there and wrestle, and that's it. You know, for me, oftentimes I'm in a minority, so I watch wrestling for the wrestling choreography. The whole picture, though, to be successful in this business, that it wasn't cutting it. You just can't do that. I don't know, to be honest, maybe this character would have flied in AEW. Not to knock off AEW, but WWE is a whole different level, bro. Then and now.
After a strong presentation early on, Cena fell further and further down the card. His gimmick was so insanely bland, and WWE had evidently given up on him. They were even considering releasing Cena, but that was until Cena's rapping caught the attention of Stephanie McMahon, who was influential in keeping Cena around and debuting the iconic Dr. Thugonomics.
It really was too. It was so good, bro.
On the Ruthless Aggression documentary, the WWE legend discussed the exact moment everything began to change. "I was told that I'd be getting my release in Christmas cuts because it just wasn't working. We travel as a community, so we're all on the same bus. So I heard a bunch of guys sitting at the back of the bus like Rikishi and Rey Mysterio kind of leading the charge, and they were all freestyling. And I remember just being like, let's go try this. Just dove right in, and it was like it resonated with me. In 2 seconds, I made up a small rap about tuna fish, the jetway, the plane we were about to go on, and the destination, then closed it with a comment about Stephanie. She said, would you like to do this on television? I said, absolutely. Number 4, The Rock.
And it's not like that was his first time spitting. Like, he liked hip hop, right? And he was younger. He had to be like in his mid-20s. So it was only right, you know what I mean? In terms of like that, like in the genre. Okay, it really is a young dude's game. I don't know if he would have continued doing, if he could have continued doing that, if it would never went PG, to be like in his mid to late 30s, just like freestyling. But bottom line, it was the right place, right time to display his joy of hip hop by just freestyling with the boys, and then boom goes the dynamite. Bottom line, that's fire.
In late 96, the WWE audience were fed up with the stale characters, and this led to a shift of the fans vocally revolting and turning against babyfaces. One of the babyfaces that fans notably turned on was Rocky Maivia, whose blue chipper character was being heckled with insanely negative chants each week. This gimmick could have resulted in the end of
Yo, it's a wild sign, bro. That is a wild sign. They put that sign up recently on SmackDown. That's why the screen kept blacking it out. But beside that, like, Die Rocky Die, bro. Like, over when was this? Like 25, 26 years ago? That's crazy. You gotta be hated that much just for somebody to come up with a sign saying Die Rocky Die. That's crazy. And this is before the IWC. They say. So they're just making a sign going, man, this guy, man. Damn it. Boom, boom, bam. Die, Rocky, die. Like, damn.
Maivia's chance
That's show business, though.
A welcome heel turn resulted in Maivia becoming The Rock, and this would be a booking decision that would change WWE history forever. The Rock was now able to deliver a character that he was truly comfortable with, and the character and promo work was some of the best that WWE had ever seen. The character change was so popular that WWE had no choice but to turn him into a heroic babyface, and between the years of 99 to 2003, it could certainly be argued that The Rock was the single biggest star on the entire show. Number 3, Stone Cold.
Heel, babyface, bro, The Rock is just cooking, bro. Even though, he gets assistance from the writer, it really doesn't matter, because if you're able to deliver it with such promise, bro, you just got it.
Steve Austin. The ringmaster character on the surface isn't the worst gimmick imaginable, yet when it was given to a wrestler that had so much more to offer, it's inevitably gonna fail. The ringmaster gimmick was basically what the name suggests. The gimmick was based around Steve Austin's ring abilities, and Austin knew that this gimmick wasn't the gimmick he needed to truly transcend and get over the audience. During an episode of the Steve Austin Show, the Texas Rattlesnake discussed the ringmaster persona, and this is what he had to say. From when I came in as the ringmaster, and I knew it was a suck-ass gimmick, right? But I had a wife and 2 kids and a log cabin on 10 acres. I gotta pay my bills or they're gonna take all my shit from me, so I'll go up there. I'd already been up to visit Vince twice. I knew they didn't have anything planned for me and they were just bringing me in as a mechanic. In the same interview, Austin spoke openly about the fact he knew that the gimmick was never going to work. I knew that wasn't going to work after 6 months, and so, whatever, I started to think about it, drinking beer, whiskey, watching television, and I came up with the Stone Cold persona. The Stone Cold character would begin taking shape in '96 and magic was born. The character was partly responsible for the major surge of interest in pro wrestling in the second half of the 90s, and Austin became a household name with every demographic across the world. There's certainly financial evidence to point towards Austin being the biggest draw that WWE have ever had under contract. And it's crazy to think that if Austin didn't come up with the Stone Cold character, then the WWE landscape could have been completely different. Number 2, LA Knight.
And another side note, along with that Stone Cold Steve Austin thing, I remember I read a book way back when I was younger in elementary school. It was a book of Stone Cold, right? It was something. It said it was the wife that suggested it. She even suggested it, but that's where he got the name Stone Cold from his wife, because something like the wife and like she makes soup and she said, you should eat the soup before it gets cold. You don't want to get stone cold. I guess that's me like sick or something along that lines. And so he was like, Stone Cold. Yeah, I should use that. Then boom goes the dynamite. The persona, obviously, he probably came up with that himself, but yeah, that's cool.
Knight.
Teamwork,
Upon reports
baby.
circulating that WWE were calling LA Knight up from NXT, fans were ecstatic. LA was a perfect fit for the main roster, yet it was then reported that Vince McMahon wanted to turn LA into Max Dupree and present him as a manager. The Dupree character would be a manager of a male modeling agency, and fans instantly loathed it. It was terribly executed, and it was evident that LA was uncomfortable in the role. Fans endlessly pushed WWE to change their minds, and it took a number of months, but eventually WWE listened, and LA Knight was back on TV. It was a miracle that LA was able to get over the level he did in 2023, as the managerial gimmick was destined to be a colossal failure, and it was no doubt going to be LA that would have taken the majority of the blame. And number 1, Cody.
And with LA Knight, because Vince is looking at the bigger picture. Like, is he really going to be that star? So he's looking at age, he's 40, alright, bam, manager. But at the same time, like, did he really watch like the NXT stuff of his work? Cause it was the same thing, LA Knight, yeah, right. So that was just weird to me. But again, he's looking at the bigger picture of like down the road. He didn't want to have a guy to come up from the developmental and just wrestle for that 1 year or something that he thinks a freak accident could happen and then LA Knight just suddenly done. If not done, not able to perform at the level he did prior to a freak injury, as say at 41 or 42 or something. That's probably what he was looking at. That's why he did just put him out as a manager role. But that just defeats, that just showed Vince had no faith in LA Knight for the long haul.
Rhodes. And WWE making the bold call to repackage Cody Rhodes as Stardust will always remain a baffling move. Rhodes was consistently over as simply Cody Rhodes, and Rhodes delivering a carbon copy of Goldust persona wasn't going to suddenly push Rhodes into the upper echelon of WWE. The gimmick quickly fizzled out, and before fans knew it, Rhodes was regularly on WWE Superstars and Main Event. This eventually led to Rhodes cutting ties with WWE and seeking his release. They clearly didn't know what they had with Rhodes, as he would become a household name in various other promotions and even became EVP of AEW. In one of the most shocking returns of the past decade, Rhodes triumphantly returned to WWE at WrestleMania 38, and this time, the Stardust persona was buried and forgotten. They thankfully committed to presenting Rhodes as the American Nightmare, and they reaped the rewards, as Rhodes ushered in a prosperous era for the WWE that continues to grow. Rhodes analyzed the Stardust persona while speaking on Grit and Glory, and Rhodes had a great take on why it fell apart.
It hits a unique wall on the form of Stardust, because there were times where it was a mask that I didn't want, and then there were times it was a mask that I did want. While I was doing Stardust, my dad passed away. It was 2015.
Very true. Yep.
nothing I needed more at that time, actually, than to hide, to cover up. I wasn't ready to be Cody Rhodes. I wasn't ready to be anything. The last piece of it all, though, that I needed to find was, not to sound dramatic, but was the American Nightmare itself. Being the son of the American dream, and it just was time to take the mantle in my own way. I am part of a royal family of wrestling, and I'm lucky and humbled to be part of it, but now I'm carrying it with me. I'm not hiding it, I'm not disguising it.
Well, there you have it, folks. 10 WWE wrestlers.
And Cody Rhodes to do what he does, though, it does take strength and courage to do that. To perform when a close one, especially a parent that you're very close to, passes away, it could be very difficult to perform, at a high level on TV. Keep your professionalism. To leave a company to pursue your goal as to be the best performer you can be, it could be a journey. Cause you have to go to independent. Like, you're already up here in WWE. Now, he wasn't a main event player, but to get back to go down here, right? You can't see my hand cause there's video thing, but to go down here in the independent scenes, it just, as a fan from the outside looking in, it could feel like taking your part of your soul away, right? Cause now you're making way less money, right? You're being treated highly because of your stature, but you're getting paid less money. You're at a high school gym or whatever the hell is that, and then you gotta climb through the ranks to get back to another wrestling company that could respect and admire your work and portray you in a different way than the top echelon of WWE have put you in. So AEW was founded in 2019. He went through there. He was also EVP. He eventually left, came back to WWE, became the big star that he is now, that he wasn't in 2015 before he left the company, which is saying something. He did have growth in a way, because he was a tag team wrestler. Then he had his own gimmick going, like dashing Cody Rhodes, and then it was I don't remember the name, but it was like a ugly version of Cody Rhodes, because he had to wear a mask, because in kayfabe, I think it was Ray that broke his face. So then he come into the ring with a paper bag in his head. Theme song was like a different version of the one that was played for dashing Cody Rhodes. He won the Intercontinental Championship multiple times. I'm not sure how many times to be exact. And then I guess the start of that character just fell flat. That's the period when I wasn't watching at the time. So it was like 2015, 2014 probably too. So it's just Drew McIntyre did the same thing. It's just one of those things where it's a minor setback for a major comeback. So that's just the risk that comes with it. Cause you gotta remember, these are grown men. You got bills to pay. No matter how much you love the business, it's all about the money. You can't just be performing living in a van. You know what I'm saying? That's independent wrestling stuff when you're struggling for real. So it's such a whiplash that nobody want to go through. So kudos to those guys that do those journeys. They're able to come back better than ever. Able to reinvent themselves. Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre. I guess Bobby Lashley too. No, I don't know why he left WWE the first time, because they portrayed him good. I guess he wanted to develop his craft more as a professional wrestler. That's what he did as an independent when he did more professional wrestling moves than amateur wrestling moves. And you can see that when he came back to WWE, like, when was it, 2015 or something? I'm not entirely sure. Again, I wasn't watching at the time. But but this was a cool vid though. So thank you guys for watching. Peace, I'm out.